Let's see how I built that razor for my Star Wars dioramas. In the previous video, you saw me build my own version of Obi-Wan's hut, and then we placed that diorama and two other Star Wars dioramas inside the glass cabinet of an Ikea Kallax shelf. And this is how that ended up looking. Of course, those books under the decoupage diorama are just a temporary solution, and it is time to build something out of Lego to replace them. I'm thinking of building something out of black 2x brick that is as wide as the cabinet, as deep as the decoupage diorama on top, and it has some sort of a cavity where the backside of the Emperor's Throne Room diorama can slide partly in. And the right hand side of the razor should have a slope so that it meets the edge of the decoupage diorama on the top. I did some initial estimates on how much I would need those parts and made an order. And once those parts arrived, it was time to start building. So here are the parts that I ordered. I got 600 of 2x4s, 100 of 2x2s, 60 of these 2x2x3 slopes, 20 6x10 plates, and a bunch of some smaller plates too. These should be enough to build that razor, at least mostly. Now, one thing that popped into my mind was the fact that when I placed the Hogwarts Castle and Ground set inside the glass cabinet of an Ikea Kallax shelf, it was a bit problematic when the build was from edge to edge. Because due to the hinges and the door, you're not gonna get such build out of the cabinet easily. And that is why I decided to design my razor so that it splits into two parts. One part would be built out of 3 of these 6 wide plates. And the other one would be a bigger one, and that would cover rest of the width of the cabinet. Then it was time to lay a lot of bricks to build the required height and other required features such as the sloping edge and the cavity where the Emperor's Throne Room can slide partly in. But I quickly realized that my original plan was not going to work. These slope pieces would not work for the edge. I thought it needed to follow more closely the shape of the Emperor's Throne Room. Luckily, I had some other slopes available so I could test build it. I also had a couple of these black arch pieces in my inventory, so I could add those in. And this other section was just basically built out of black bricks, nothing special there. Eventually, I got the whole side wall completed. I needed to add some different colored plates and tiles in there. Those will get replaced with black ones later on. Inside there is just support structures built out of differently colored bricks. The next step was to add a couple of more support columns to support the roof plates. And after that, I could add the roof plates in. Now, only thing that I needed to add was some tiles and jumper plates at the top, and the build was complete for the time being. Of course, I still needed to order the missing black plates, tiles, and slope pieces, but I could save that for later. Now, let's see how the dioramas look when they are added to the glass cabinet with this razor. First, you take the bigger section and slide that one past the door and the hinges. Then you add in the smaller section. Next, you place the decoupage diorama on top of the razor. Then you can use the Emperor's Throne Room diorama to push everything in a bit deeper, and then slot the Emperor's Throne Room to its correct place. And finally, you slide the Obi-Wan's hut diorama in. And now this diorama series is sort of a complete. Of course, I'm still going to make some additions and improvements for this collection. This is going to need some sort of a overall name plaque that would fit in here. I'm currently thinking a Path of a Jedi or something like that. Perhaps there should also be some numbers and arrows about the viewing order, because the first part is down here on the left, the second part is at the top, and the third one is here on the right hand side. And I also need to switch a correct quote here for the Obi-Wan's hut diorama. For the quote, I am thinking, "I was once a Jedi Knight, same as your father," by Obi-Wan Kenobi. Of course, that is not the exact quote that is spoken at the moment when Luke ignites the lightsaber. But the same is true for the other two dioramas too. It is not the exact moment depicted when the quote is spoken. I also think that that quote would work nicely with the Emperor's Throne Room's quote, "I am a Jedi like my father before me." And of course, I still need to upgrade the Obi-Wan's hut diorama quite a bit before it matches quality-wise the other two dioramas. I happened to stumble upon this picture of much better Obi-Wan's hut build by Speedyhead. I think that something like this would match the other two dioramas quite a bit better. Of course, mine cannot be this big, otherwise it wouldn't fit inside the cabinet. So I need to remove that speeder and even make the indoors area quite a bit smaller. But I will definitely use this as an inspiration going forwards. But I am not in a hurry to continue the Star Wars project at this point. But now I have built enough so that I can somewhat see how the end result is going to look. But before I can continue with this one, I definitely need to order some more parts. So I can say for sure that next video will not be about this project. The next one will be about modular buildings once again. If you want to get a notification as soon as that video is up, you should consider hitting that subscribe button down there. I will upload the next video ASAP, but remember, when a Sloth says that, it means as slowly as possible. Bye bye!